Welcome. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening on our special talk tonight on goals. And I'm very grateful to have Shelley Sheridan, one of a great leader, director, Emerald director in our team that's building an incredible business, and it's been a pleasure to work with her over the years. And I'm really excited because her goal is to reach a level in the marketing plan called World Team, where we travel. And I am going to be traveling to Hawaii tomorrow. And when you do step up onto the World Team, there's a lot of little travel incentives. So I'm hoping that when Shelley goes through these amazing goals tonight, you can start setting your goals and working with your upline to achieve these great goals and travel with me, because I don't want to be the only one in Canada traveling to Hawaii next year. So wherever we're going, I'm not sure, but I will announce that when I get back. This week moving forward, so this evening at 8 o'clock, we're doing our health talk where we have a basic introduction. And then Thursday, Mary Ellen is going to be covering eye health. So those are the things that are up and coming this week. And now I have the pleasure of introducing our dear friend, Shelley Sheridan. Welcome, Shelley.
Thank you so much, Nada. And everybody, put your hand up if you would want to be traveling with Nada next year to wherever she wants to, wherever she's going to be going. Absolutely. And this is definitely something that will help you get there. And we started doing these trainings a few months ago. And this is actually the second time that we're cycling through. It's a 3-part series, I call it, that starts off with figuring out your vision, and then figuring out your goals, and then figuring out your plans. And so our hope as we do this is that things become more and more clear with what you want and how you want to reach it. Okay, so each time that we go through this, I hope that it is part of a working presentation, not just sitting and listening. Yes, you want to do that, but I want you to also be working and writing things down and figuring out what you need to do to get to your next level. So last week or 2 weeks ago, before the huddle, we did vision. So I have my vision board here, and I hope many of you sat down, and you're not going to be completing your vision because it's changing every year, but at least have an idea for the areas in your life that you want to be developing and the part with your business that you want to be developing as well. And I want to say down in one of the things that I have as part of as I grow my business is I pay it back by sponsoring service dog puppies. So I'm actually dog sitting one of the puppies that I sponsored, Callie's mom, Jan, named after my mom. So if you hear a bark every now and then, that will be Callie. But it all is fitting because it's part of this neo-life business, because it's on my vision board of what I want to be able to do, right? So let's look at what your goals are and write on your piece of paper. And yes, we're going to ask questions at the end, but at some time I might kind of pop a question and then I'll want you to answer it, but I'll let you know when we get there. So let's look at short-term goals. And this really depends on if you're doing this thing, like you're ramped up and I want to really work it a lot, or if you're doing it kind of part-time in the nooks and crannies, you'll decide like short-term goal will be a week or a month. Okay. And I say that in terms of if it's part-time, it might take you a little bit longer to get there. But it all depends on your enthusiasm of talking to people. So therefore, it might be your goal at the end of the week. Okay, so write down a couple of things that is a short-term goal for you business-wise. I mean, yes, we can look at our vision and have a goal in the health and fitness area, and we can have a goal in relationships, and we can have a goal with emotional, spiritual. But right now, because this is our business training, let's focus on business and finance and figure out what we want to do with those goals. So write down a couple of those short-term goals. And then write down what medium goal you might have. Something within the month, or if it's only part-time, maybe it's within 3 months. Maybe it's within 9 months, maybe it's a year. So write down a couple of things that might be a little bit farther for you. Okay, so my short term, because we only have a couple of weeks, a short term goal for me is to be able to do the 3 and 30 for this month. So there is the short term. My medium goal within the year is to step up to world team. Okay, long-term goal for me would be to step up to the president's team. Okay, so figure out, dream big of what you want to do, and take a couple of minutes right now of just writing them down. We're going to, as I said, take a little bit of time for you to just think about things as we go. Okay, so now if you want to shift to the next slide, just because it's going to help people kind of understand and see where they want to go. So people who are just starting as a promoter, you need 30 points, okay? You get your first bonus rebate at 250 points. So for this month, if you just started this month, you want to at least get the 250, maybe even 500, maybe even 1,000, depends on how many people you're talking to and how many gatherings you're having, or if you're having some booths or what you're doing. So look on there to see where you are in terms of the next level that you want to get to short term. So if you're at senior manager, maybe you want to get to executive manager. That's your short-term goal. Maybe director then might be your medium goal. But actually write down the words and actually write down the points that you need for what your next step is. Okay, and it goes all the way up to world team and then president's team. I think probably for now, most of us are working between promoter, director, so, and maybe even emerald, maybe even world team. So, okay. All right, so hopefully you found how many points you need. So let's go to the next slide now. Okay, so I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this, actually 3 different ways. Okay, so when I talked about using the shape up solution, because that has the most points in our product line, that's giving you the Pro Vitality with 4 bags of the shakes, and it is connected in with the NeoFit 90. Actually, all of our products are, because they've kind of shifted that a little bit. But this is giving you the most bang for your buck if you have friends who want to be doing some fitness goals or some weight loss goals. This is an awesome place to start, because that manager where you needed to get to 500 points, if you have 3 friends who want to do it with you, who is the one person, so there's 4 people with the shape up solution, there's your 500 points already. It's actually 584. And then the next month, you're going to get your shape up solution back. So not only are you earning $128.31, but you're also getting in product and money as well, $322, because you don't have to pay for yours the next month. Okay, so you decide if, yeah, do you know what? I want to go out there and see it when I'm chatting with people, if they are ready to do the shape up solution with me, and that's your starting point. For if you want to get to the senior manager, then you're asking 6 people. So maybe those 3 people have a friend who want to come and do it with you. And that's all of a sudden you're at 1,000 points. Okay, so there's senior manager already. And then it just builds. So whether you have a whole group, you know, it'll just kind of keep building as you go along, or the first people after the first month continue on the next month, but you add some more. Okay, and that's how you're going to build this with just the shape up solution. But in reality, our businesses aren't just a shape up solution. You might be able to start that way. You might have a grouping that way, but you also have other customers who are doing other things, right? So let's look at the next slide and think about if you have the Upbeat, Pro Vitality, and the Elevate, that awesome Elevate, where they are 32 to 35 points. Now, if you're just doing that, you need to get a group of people, and we talked about this with Ashley, of doing a picnic in the park kind of thing, and everybody tries their elevate, and you get a gathering together. Wow, you might have your 15 right there. They say, oh my gosh, I'm just loving this. I went down and I took my computer and it needed some fixing. And while we were chatting, I asked him if he ever used energy drinks because he was just finishing up university, and he did. And he tried the Elevate, and he just texted me back going, wow, that really tasted great. So I'm going back and forth to say, you know what, is this something that you can see in your daily routine, right? Opening up the conversation with these new, because they're so easy with the Elevate and the upbeat, for something that they can just taste, right? But this means more people because it's less points, but it's still very, very doable if that's how you want to do your business, okay? However, let's think about if we are, instead of doing 147 with the shape up solution, or doing 34 with the Pro Vitality or Elevate 35, let's say that we are doing it with 100 points, something a little bit more in the middle. Let's do like a breakfast solution and one other thing, okay? If it's 100 points, let's think about that. If I need 500 points, and each person is going to do 100 points, I need 4 people, 100, 200, 300, 400, and I'm the 5th for the 500, right? See how that works out? If I need 1,000 points, then there's going to be 9 people for my 900 at 100 each, and I'm the last 100. That gives me my 1,000. See how that works? Go to the next slide, Nat. I'm not sure if I had put it onto that slide or not. I didn't. Okay, that's okay. I'm just going to walk you through this. Okay, so I want you to think about how many points you need in order to get to that next level. That's what you're going to focus on. Is it the 500 for manager? Is it the 1,000 for senior manager? Is it 2,000 for executive manager? 4,000 for director or emerald director? Okay, those are the numbers I want you to think about. And then I want you to think about how many people you need to talk to for 100 points. Let's keep it there, because then you can have a little bit of a variety between them. So if you're shooting for that 2,000 points, now, and this is, you know, when I'm saying these numbers, it's like starting at 0, going to 2,000. You probably already have, you know, 1,200 points. You just need to bump it up a little bit more, right? But if you need 2,000 points, that's 19 people plus me. That's 20 people that you need. But you probably already have 10, 11, 12 because you've been building this business already. Okay. Can you go to the next slide, Nada? Okay. So, you know what? I'm just going to say, let's unmute if you are still trying to figure out where how many people you need at 100. If that's a little bit confusing for you, just unmute and tell me what rank you're at and what rank you're shooting for. If nobody unmutes, I'll assume that you're getting what I'm saying each time we go through. Because if you're good with math, you can kind of do some of those numbers. If it's kind of throwing you off a little bit, you know, if it takes you a bit of time. Okay, I'll assume that everyone's good until we get to the question, because then it might add some more. So now let's get specific about how we word our goals so that we know in our mind that it's going to be relevant for what we want for our vision and to help us move forward. Okay. And a lot of people, there's different systems. This is the one that I'm most used to and comfortable with. And people will say, you know, this one's been around a long time. You know, there's new ones. Absolutely. If you've tried something new and it's working, go with that. But I've also found this one coming back again because people have found it so successful that they're coming back to it again. So make sure whatever your goal is very specific. what you need to exactly accomplish what you want to do. And I'm going to give you some examples in the next slide. Okay. We want to make sure that it's measurable, that you put numbers to it, that it's achievable with what else is happening in your life, that it's relevant. Does it align with your vision? Or is it some random thing that you just all of a sudden picked up, but does it align with your vision? And timely, does it have a start and an end date? And usually a lot of times with what we're doing with our business, there are start and end dates because it's ending by the end of the month, or it's ending by the time we're going to Impact Summit, or whatever it is. We usually have that already. So let's go to the next slide because this will help us actually come up with some things. And so we're just going to leave these two examples. So for me, and I did this before in terms of it being a specific thing that I wanted to do in order to take my son on a mom-son getaway, because that's what, this connection money, which is why I'm building this business along with other things as well. I need $5,000 to go away with Mitchell in March. And I need to save $1,000 per month for the next 5 months. So it's measurable. I know how much I need. It's achievable when I stay director. Okay. When I step up to Sapphire director, it's going to take even less time. Right? Yes, it aligns with my vision to connect my relationships. And my time frame is now October to February in order to earn that money. But let's look at example number 2 for any of you who want to become a senior manager. Okay, so you want to become a senior manager. And this is how you want to write it. That's what you want to do. It's measurable because you need 1,000 points. And you decide, is it going to be in 2 months? Is it in 6 months? Is it a year? Are you starting at 0 and going to 1,000? Are you starting already at 500 and going to 1,000? Makes a big difference, right? Yes, it's achievable. If I do 600 each month, like for 2 months. Okay, so 600 the first month. Maybe a couple of people decide not to continue, but maybe you keep 500 for the next month and then you get 500 more, right? Because that's what's so amazing about this business is that it's residual. It just keeps building, right? It aligns with your vision in terms of the finance and your time frame, depending on what you decide, right? So if you now decide that you need, in that example, that you need 600 points this month, and we're looking at 100 points per person, you need 6 people. So you want to be out talking. If you talk to 6 people and get 6 people right away, you're not talking to enough people because you can really impact a lot of lives. You want to be talking to, 5 times that, like 30 people to get 6 people, right? Yeah, so let's unmute and kind of, if people can share what they're looking at, what they're hoping to step up to, and where you kind of are, so that we can look at an idea, so that at least you have the goals in your mind of what you want to set. Because next week we're going to talk about plans, and we're going to actually have a fun session where we're connecting with people, and we're actually going to be calling and putting it in the chat, and we're going to do a community group thing in supporting each other to actually do the activities. It's going to be so much fun. But you want to know what your goals are now and what you want to be doing so that you're all set for next week. Okay, so if we unmute, and let's start with some people with where they are now and where they want. Let's start off with an easy one. Where they are now. Let's just do the S part. Where they are now and where they want to go to in their next step. Okay, Cindy.
Okay, so right now I am an Emerald director.
Okay.
And my points range between 5,000 and 6,000 points. So my goal is to become a Sapphire.
Okay.
So with 10,000 plus points, I always like to have
Yes.
more, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's and so yeah, so I know, yeah, I do need to get a lot more points still.
Yeah. So you're talking, let's say, let's make it a simple number in terms of, let's keep it at 5,000 now, and you need another 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So really I'm looking for a business builder.
Absolutely. And that's a really, really good point, Cindy, because here's the thing. You can choose to do it yourself, in which case, if you need 5,000 more points, you need a lot of people. You need 50 people just yourself at 100 points to give you that 5,000, right?
Right.
Okay. But if you have a business builder, if you have 2 business builders, right?
That's the
That
goal.
number gets, pardon me?
I said that's the goal, always to have 2 that are like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that works.
Yeah, 2 or 3. We always draw it down and write our 3 circles of who our business builders are. Absolutely, because as soon as you drop it down, so instead of 5,000 points, let's say that one does 2,000 points because they've come to executive director, and another one does 1,000 points and becomes a senior manager. Now you're up to 3,000. Now, instead of 5,000, Cindy only needs to get 2,000, which is 20 people. So that's why business builders are so key in this. This business is certainly doable to do, if you're out there building it yourself, but oh, it's so much more fun when you do it with another person, and it makes it so much simpler, let's say. It's not easy because you're always connecting and talking, but it makes it simpler. Wouldn't you say, Cindy, as you've been doing it when you have business builders?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I was Sapphire at one point, and yeah, it's so much more fun. But it's true. You just always shouldn't just concentrate on one person. You want multiple business builders, for sure.
And what's your time frame, would you say? So your S would be, becoming a Sapphire director. You want to reach 10,000 points in, what's your time frame?
Short term was 3 and 30 within the month. My medium term is to step up to world team with for Sapphire 10,000 points. And then long term is I know we shouldn't restrict ourselves, but I said either Sapphire or Ruby with 20,000 points.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, no, you can dream big. You can have that long term, because each time that we go through this, we're just revising it. You got to have that vision out there. You got to be thinking about it. You got to wake up in the morning, say you're positive, what are you grateful for, and what you want to be working on each day to move forward to that. Absolutely. Is it achievable?
Is it achievable?
Yes.
It is.
Absolutely it is. Yes. Yes.
You have to believe it is achievable too.
That's right. And that certainly is that whole part that Joan had talked about in terms of mindset. Yes, you have to believe it as well. And does it align with your vision? What part of your vision does it align with?
Gee, I haven't really done my vision. My vision is I always feel like, like getting that 10,000 points yourself is great, yeah, financially, but I always feel you've helped people if you've built up at least one director. You've helped someone to accomplish and get their dreams.
You know what? Absolutely. But I'm gonna just work with that just for a minute in terms of, because there's lots of people who are new on here who, when things start to get a little tougher or you're not sure who to talk with, what do you want to do? What will excite you about becoming a Sapphire? And I know it's helping people. That's why we do this business. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But is it being able to travel next year with Canada and World Team, or is it being able to use that money for something else? What?
Well, definitely travel, and probably travel with family. For me, it's travel.
Yeah, I know how much you love to travel. So yeah, so you want that deep in your heart. And maybe that's all you put on your vision board right now, Cindy, is you put down the places that you want to go and you have pictures of your family and you have an airplane, a car, a van, however you're doing it. And that's all that you do with your vision board because that's what's going to work.
And I do have that on my vision board. I have family and travel, and I have a picture for Italy, which Mike and I, of course, were planning. These are trips Mike and I were planning to take, but also with family. England, and Scotland. And I would like to be able to pay for my sister. Like my sister and I are going over to visit her granddaughter in England, but they know how much I want to go to Scotland.
Yeah.
So we'll take a little side trip to Scotland. Well, I would like to be able to pay for my sister's trip to Scotland because I know they're doing that for me, right?
Yes.
So that would be one. And of course, the Holy Land, which I did already. Was thinking of Egypt, and then of course right now,
maybe not now at the moment. Yeah.
Anyway,
but you know what? That's exciting. And that's why we're doing this. Think a little bit bigger than just this is a presentation about, numbers and everything. And that's why we start off with the vision. Think bigger as to why you want to know your journey and how to get there. Because I know for several years, my husband would come in and ask me these questions and I'd go, oh, well, I don't know. I just go out and talk to people. But it wasn't until I started thinking about how I was going to present this to you, how it started to become much more clear in my mind, why I wanted to know this information and why it was important to have that in your mind as your why, and then your goals, and then next week, the plans. Okay. Because that helps you to keep moving. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing.
If I can just add something there.
Yeah.
I also was Disney with the family, which again accomplished that. And that was a real motivator because having been a single mom at one point too, I all these other people were taking their kids on fantastic trips. So for me, I like to be able to take family on those trips.
Fabulous. That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there somebody else who's just kind of starting out and not sure? Who wants to be brave on this one? Maybe not brave, just kind of spread your wings a little bit, stretch a little bit. We'll walk you through it. Anybody? If not, that's okay.
Shelley, I'm not just starting out, but I would be willing to go through my goals.
Absolutely. When?
Just as a thought-provoking thing so people can see what I'm thinking about anyway. So
where are you now?
So I'm looking at my short-term goals and my medium goals.
Yeah.
So the things I've focused on. Short-term goals, so that's 1 to 4 weeks. So talking to people, that's a big goal of mine, is talking to prospects. Signing up 3 in 30. So in that 1 to 4 weeks, I want to sign up 3 people, one of whom will be a prospect. So will be a business builder.
Awesome.
And I also want to follow up with customers that I have, because I have a fairly stable customer base. Now, they're not huge purchasers, but I would really like them to go for 3 for free. I need to work on that. That's what I think would be a great way to add more people to my team, by increasing, they call that with the legs, right? So going down.
And that's great. And Mary Ellen did a wonderful presentation on retaining and following up with your customers is also important to retain.
I heard that. I heard that. So
where are you now where are you a manager?
Well, my other short-term goal is I'm calling it to be an executive manager with ease. That's the key, because right now I'm working hard to be an executive director, to get that 2000 PV, because I don't want to go backwards. Once you've been to being an executive manager and recognizing how much money you get compared to just being a high numbers senior manager, you don't want to go back there, because I did that 1 month and my brother did it too. So he was a senior manager and 1 month he didn't make it. And that was enough for him to work on it, but we're working on it the hard way. You know, we're being our own best customers. So that's not what I want to be. I want to, so what I've said is being an executive manager with ease. So not just getting to those 2,000 PV a month by myself with my.
So you need an extra 1,000.
Well, I no, I think that when I look at my, you know, so long as I don't have people dropping off my team, I can get to 1,800, generally speaking, with ease. You know, that's just my own roll up from the clients that I have plus myself. Okay. But it's always that last 200 that really stretches me because I don't really have that kind of money. I want to make money, not just spend it. So my medium goals, I mean, do you want me to go on to talk about just the goals, or?
Well, let's work at that in getting to executive director. So really then an extra 500 points would benefit you.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if we're looking at another 500 points with people ordering maybe 100 points, that's 5 people.
Doesn't sound like very many, but I'm, you know.
No, it doesn't.
It's work.
That's right. It's 5 people yourself, or if one of those happens to be a promoter.
Yes.
You know, maybe it's one person who's the promoter, but maybe you had to talk to 10 people before you got that, before that one person said yes. So it's realizing that you're right. It's not simple because you have to be talking to people and using your 3-way conversations to bring them in, you know, call up some people who are building the business as part of your 3 ways. And so, but then when you look at the numbers, we're talking five people at 100 points. So try not to make it in your mind feel more difficult than it is. Okay. It's 5 people, but yes, you need to chat to, 20, 25, 30, and do your 3 ways for that to happen. And then just keep it simple. So your goal then is just to go out and chat. Once you kind of know, is to just go out and chat. Okay. Does that align with your vision in earning your income?
It does. It really does.
Okay. And so we're looking at the next month or 2 to do that. Well, you said 1 to 4 weeks, right?
I did.
Okay. Well, there you go with that. And just when was talking about numbers, the average, let's say, if we're throwing around a few numbers, if you become a senior manager, it's $180 in your pocket. Not to mention, you would have more if you've done the 3 and 30 in terms of your products, your breakfast solution or your Pro Vitality or your Shape Up solution, right? But it's $180. Okay. If it is executive director, and this is what you talked about, when the difference, all of a sudden it jumps to $540 for that month. $540, that's a big difference. And then when you get up to director, $1,400 approximately. Might be a little less, might be a little more. But get those numbers in your head so that you know how that's going to change your life if you have an extra $180 in your pocket. Or if you have an extra $540 in your pocket that month. And what that's going to get you on your vision board. A ticket to where, a new pair of what, paying off what, right? Because that gets the passion into you in terms of knowing why you want to do this. And then you relax, because if you sound, oh my gosh, I got to talk to this person because I got to be able to get this money to do that. Now you sound desperate. Keep the caring in your heart as to why we're doing this business in the first place of sharing. And then know, as we're doing this, that the income is building. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Does that make it a little bit clearer?
Yes, thank you. Actually, I like that, verbally sharing that. It's a
Okay.
bit of a commitment statement too, but
Yes.
in fact, you gave me some numbers to work on, so that is really helpful. Thank you, Shelley.
And we'll do more next week. Okay, so start thinking about who you want to talk to and start writing down names, because we're going to start talking about that next week.
Great, thank you.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Otherwise, everybody can unmute. Was there any other questions? I hope this was more clear now that you've gone through it. Well, maybe this was your first time, or maybe this is your second time through, and now you have some numbers and a little bit more direction as to your plan or your goals, I mean. Any questions at all?
Can I
All
just
right, well, I'm really excited. I'm excited to see, what people's goals are, the visions are the next time around. And I'm excited to hear what people are working on next week when we start doing our plan
I'm
and
excited.
doing
Thank
some action with it. Nada?
Yeah, I just want to add quickly because for some of you that are brand new, like literally a week, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I just want to share with you that when I first started, I was afraid of this.
Mhm.
I just want you to know that don't worry if you're looking at this going, what does this mean? That's okay. Okay. That's why you're like, for example, Kamea, you've got Shelley as your support, right? Some of the new promoters on my team, please reach out to me. When you're looking at this for the first time, some of this language it might just seem like a different language to you all. Okay. So don't worry about that. It's baby steps, and we will help and support you. And watching this again, that's why we do the recording. Shelley did an amazing job, and we do record this. So we'll be sending out the recording and just review it again and write your questions down, and please reach out to us. And I asked so many questions over and over and over until I eventually got it. And it's okay not to get it right away. So just remember that. Okay. So we're here to help and support you every step of the way. And thank you so much, Shelley, for painting this amazing picture for all of us.
You're welcome.
So I guess we're going to be signing off. And did you want
I
to
think
say?
I also want to say, and I probably should have put this in the recording too, was just, if you make your goal and you kind of know where you're headed and you make it to here, well, just know that you made it to here. Like you're moving forward, right? If you didn't quite get all the way, you're still, and with practice, it just kind of keeps building, and consistency, right?
Yeah.
We'll help you next week with that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening.
Well, thank you.
And thank you all.
And thanks,
you,
Cindy
Shelley.
and Wen, for sharing.
Yes. Thank you both.
Have fun, Nada.